I don't know what qualifies as a cynical foul.
It sounds extremely British.
Welcome to amorephillyunion. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
And we're coming at you with a minimalistic intro, snow weary, recovering from a nice little bit of winter that just fell all over the place. So I don't know. I'm lower energy. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but spending a better part of the day out shoveling. So we'll see how this episode goes. Housekeeping. We are still in the process of working on our Help Us Help the You challenge. We are narrowing down our options, our plan, and I guess we got another week or so to get it finalized, and we'll be sure to keep you guys posted when we have that worked out. But in the meantime, still share the love. Go over to www.philadelphiaunionfoundation.org. There's a nice big donate button there in the top right corner. So go ahead and click on that and share some love, and tell them a More Philly Union sent you. Okay. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So we had this is our third preseason game, I think, third or fourth. I'm not sure. And the Union went up against FC Cincinnati, and it was a little bit of a repeat. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like Cincinnati has our number here. The Union were not victorious, which is another.
But they got up fast. They got up early, and they were up 3-0 after what sounded like some pretty nice goals. I mean, I saw the replay that they posted on their socials because once again, Trevor dropped the ball, and there was no stream for this game. But yeah, definitely a shame to see that the good early work go. But it was good that Michael Ora got back out on the field.
Yeah, it's good to see him scoring again. It's kind of like that saying: if there's such a thing as scoring too early, the Union tripled down on that one, and they racked up that 3-0 lead. I think by the 17th minute. Between so what was the order of the scoring?
Ora got the first one, then McGlynn, and then
right.
2 minutes later, Gajdag scored. Yeah. So hey, those three scoring is a good sign out of the Union's attack. Hopefully that continues the rest of the season. And and Carranza having a goal in the game before, and Harriel throwing one in with the head in the game before. There's definitely been some offensive output, which is good to see.
And we got to remember too, this is against MLS Cup runner-up, not winners, but they made it to the MLS Cup final. So going down 3-4, it could be worse.
Yeah. It once again, it's hard to know too much about that or call much about this game since we are not able to watch it, and we have limited information from the write-ups. Don't know which lineups were out there, although it seems like a lot of the scoring was in the first 40. So this game was a 45-minute period, a 30-minute period, and then another 45-minute period for a total of 120 minutes.
So weird.
We know the lineups at the start of each of those periods for the Union, but we don't have that lineup information. Maybe on the Cincinnati website we could have gone and looked for it there. So it's hard to know who scored from Cincinnati's side and who they were facing.
So I have a question about that setup, the 45-30, 45. I know this is just a preseason training kind of situation, so they can kind of do whatever they want, but the way they phrased it on the live blog was both sides looking to maximize their team fitness, and so the match will see 45 minutes followed by 30 minutes, etc., etc. How does that maximize team fitness?
Well, it looks like because they were able to massively change their lineup, so it wasn't like a 5 sub or anything like that limit, and so I guess you're just getting more players in a competitive game. or more players getting more competitive game minutes in this cycle than if they were just playing a regular 90-minute game at 5 subs. I have no idea. I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, I would just like to see what it doesn't matter, but I'm just curious as to why the time periods matter for that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, strange, but okay. If it makes sense to them, that's all that really matters at this point.
Yeah, it's some sort of weird, like 45, 30, 45. It's some weird, like cold cut sandwich of soccer preparation. I have no idea.
It sounds like someone's measurements from a black and white movie.
Well, now we have our intro.
My guess is that they wanted to, this was Aura's first game back after rejoining the team. So it looks like they only put him out for 45 minutes. But it does look like that was, I mean, at least according to the blog tracker, that seems like it was the only change from the starting 11 was so it looks like the starting 11 played the first 45-minute period and then the following 30-minute period, except for Michael Ora, who got pulled for Marcus Anderson. And then Anderson was pulled after that 30-minute period, and they basically put everybody, a totally different team out there, except for Blake was still out there for the start of that second 45-minute period, and then he got subbed off after 15 minutes for Oliver Sembla. Good. Definitely feels like they tried to get close to full game length for a lot of the starters.
Yeah.
So I know we don't have a whole lot to say about this game, but it was interesting because I listened to the MLS Extra Time podcast today or yesterday, and it was today, I guess. And they talked about this game. Apparently it got really chippy, and Martinez actually got a red card at some point in this game, which the Union game tracker does not include in there. So apparently after the first or second Cincinnati goal, Martinez was not happy with something that happened, and he ended up going studs first into Lucho Acosta.
Yikes.
Fortunately, Acosta was not injured in the play, but it was certainly harsh enough to warrant a straight red. Now, that's not to say Martinez didn't already have a yellow, because once again, we have no information about that. But it would have been, apparently these two teams are starting to dislike each other. So it'll be interesting to see if it's Chicago or Cincinnati that ends up being the bigger rival for the Union.
Yeah, right.
Or does it just turn out to be everybody in the East?
Well, no one likes us.
We don't care.
We don't care. It was nice to see Bedoya getting some time on the field too. Now that that issue is all resolved, and he's getting some match fitness going on again. So it's good to see. Related to Paul, what you were saying, when I was reading through the report from the game, it was just, a paragraph of in the blog entry where it'd be like, ref issues yellow cards to both teams, and then 5 minutes later, ref issues yellow cards to both teams. It didn't give any other details, but I'm curious what was going on, that it was dishing out double yellow cards at the same time. It sounds like Cincinnati is becoming a natural rival for us.
Didn't we say that earlier last season? Who was it? Chicago?
Yeah.
That we were getting in fights with a lot.
I feel like both of those teams meet the, satisfy the saying of familiarity breeds contempt. So maybe it's because there's so many former Union guys on those teams.
Yeah, that's true. It's odd that we have such problems with the Midwest, or almost Midwest, though.
Arguably the nicest part of the country.
I know.
Well, that was our second to last preseason game. We have one more preseason game coming up
tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
As we record.
That's right. And it'll be against New England Revolution.
And this time, Trevor apparently will be there to stream the game live if you're available to watch it at 1 o'clock.
This will probably go out after that, I'm assuming. But maybe they'll have the replay.
Yeah, hopefully.
So
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Looking on New England's website, they only listed their previous preseason game, and it was against Orlando, which they lost 3-1. Again, it's preseason, take it with a grain of salt. A lot of lineups and strategies are not fully solidified at this point, so who knows. But Caleb Porter is at the helm now, so that is definitely a non-trivial aspect to going up against New England.
Caleb.
Yeah.
And Carlos Gil, you can never count him out.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be showing up for this one. And it's in Florida, so the weather should be nice as opposed to around here.
Yeah.
It's going to be cold. It's going to be in the highs in the 40s for the next few days, while the guys in Florida are enjoying nice 70 to 80-degree days.
They actually did put up a social post that said, "Hey Philly, it's warm here. Sorry." It's like, well, that's a bit. Now you're just antagonizing your fans. I know they usually go for everybody, but wow.
Allie should have made another post of him not shoveling snow.
Yeah, right.
So Wednesday, tomorrow will be our last preseason game. Also, I guess good way to celebrate Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday. So triple threat tomorrow. Then following that, we still have that our first CONCACAF Champions Cup game coming up against Saprissa. That'll be next week, Tuesday, I guess.
Tuesday, you're right.
Yeah.
The 20th.
So we'll see what that'll be a good litmus test. I don't know, to see how the team's fitness is coming along from the preseason. Paul, you had a good point last week, right? It'll be interesting to see what lineup the Union field for that game. I think that's going to be I agree with you. It's going to be telling maybe for their larger strategy for the coming at least half season.
I have a feeling they're going to put out, at least for the first half, their better lineup, because they're going to want to try to get them a little more match intensity fitness work. But if they're really targeting that cup, then they'll probably put them out for both halves, unless they're up by a ton in the first half, which I doubt, playing in Costa Rica, that would happen.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens in this first Saprissa game and with the Fire game on the 24th to start the season, to see if we can determine whether or not they are making a claim to try just for one, or if they're going to try to spread themselves thin and go for everything again. As you can tell from my opinion, or as you can tell from how I phrase that, I certainly hope they don't do that.
Yeah. Right, don't half-ass two things here.
That's right.
Well, that's one thing.
Do we know if, I can't remember from last year, if Champions Cup, Champions League, Champions Cup.
Champions Cup.
If they're allowed more subs during a Champions Cup game, just to help mitigate the wear and tear on the players. I can't remember.
I think last year they just had, they had the five that soccer has adopted at this point.
Okay. Yeah. The post-pandemic 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember there being anything more than that, but who knows?
Yeah.
We're doing 45, 30s, 45s now, so who knows? All bets are off. And then, of course, the home opener on February 24th. Hopefully it won't be snowy, icy, or any of the above.
Yeah, because we actually have those tickets. So hoping for some pleasantly seasonal but slightly mild weather.
Otherwise, we'll be putting on all the clothes.
We'll see if Punxsutawney Phil got it right and call for an early spring.
Yeah, right.
Be huddling over the hot dog twirler. It's trying to stay warm.
That's our home opener. It's a week from this Saturday, which, gosh, it's coming so fast.
It is.
It almost doesn't feel like it's actually. It's hard to believe the season's actually starting in like, what is it, 10 days, 11
Yeah.
days.
Get ready, buckle up. The ride's
Yeah.
about to start.
Yeah, make sure you renew that Apple Plus MLS package.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't worry about it. They do it for you.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sure they
Once
do.
they get your credit card information, they don't forget it.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay, so that's kind of it for the games. We got some little tidbits here, bits and bobs, I guess, as they say, on some Union players. Isaiah LaFleur is injured. It's a little bit of well, it is an unfortunate injury. I don't even want to like put
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Yeah.
very unfortunate. It's an ACL, non-contact, just the general motion of whatever he was doing on the field, and
Sucks that
that's
his
just
season is over during preseason.
Yeah.
Oh.
21 years old and just signed in December.
We're not even going to get a chance to see what he could do.
yeah.
I mean, hopefully he heals up. You know, they have been making some really great strides with, you know, electrical stimulation and other, you know, goat's blood treatments from wherever. So who knows? Maybe he'll get a chance to get some Union
Yeah.
2 matches in August. But yeah, I mean, right now they're calling it a
Yikes.
season-ending injury.
That's bad. I mean, because I've historically, some players have torn something, they get surgery, but they still make it back for at least, by the end of the season for something. But yeah, it can't be that good if they're already calling it a season-ending injury.
Yeah,
So,
and once again, it's an ACL issue. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know
Mhm.
where exactly it happened, but if he was playing on a turf field and had this problem, I mean, once again, it's like turf is known to be
Yeah.
really, really hard on
Yeah.
ACLs for whatever reason.
Mhm.
It doesn't give the way dirt does,
Yeah.
and people and a lot of players. I mean, it's an epidemic, not an epidemic, but there definitely appears to be at least correlation
Yeah.
between playing on turf and increased chances of ACL injuries.
Yeah.
So look, hopefully the 21-year-old
yes,
status will help with his recovery. You know, the
yes.
old Ryan Reynolds quote of being made of rubber and magic at that age.
Mhm.
That hopefully he will bounce back into our lineup. That would be great
Yeah.
for him and for us, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And then tomorrow, on Valentine's Day, as we record, again, Valentine's Day, a lot happening tomorrow, is the official kit launch. I assume this will be like the third kit at 11 a.m. Again, this will probably go out after that, but there is also an event this weekend called The Art of the Dupe, which makes me wonder if that is any hint as to how the theme of this third kit, or if it's just
Do we know
just
if
a
it's a
theme.
third kit or is it a replacement home kit or away kit? Or
Honestly, it's a little unclear. I don't think we know that. I assumed it was going to be a third kit.
yeah,
But you're right, that is an assumption on my part. I mean, they seem to change the home kit at least a little bit every year, but the
Mhm.
major changes are often change or save for at least the away, if not the third.
Mhm.
So maybe away is a better way of putting it, but
I
yeah.
haven't really paid much attention to see if they've been changing the home kit every year.
Yeah, just little.
Yeah.
Some years are more drastic than others.
Yeah.
Like that stripe situation was new. Like the sort of
That's right, they did
yeah,
have.
like I don't know if that was last year or the year before, but for a while there was snake happening, sort of a subtle snake tone on tone thing. But anyway, so Art of the Dupe, don't know if that means anything or just what they're using for the announcement itself. They actually put out a video of a string quartet
Mhm.
playing the, as we call it, the dupe song. That's not the real name of it, but on in the midfield with scenes from past games playing on the big screen behind. That was pretty impressive.
Mhm.
But so and then related, and maybe this will be something too. This is actually the 15th season of Union
Wow.
Soccer.
So just before we
So
move off of jerseys,
yeah.
they also announced that the right sleeve is going to have
Oh yeah.
Independence Blue Cross on it this year. I believe the left sleeve either had MLS or Apple on it last year,
Hmm.
and so the other sleeve now will have a Union sponsor, which is the first time the Union have ever done that on a uniform on a kit, which is a little different, but hopefully that means some more money and maybe hopefully that'll show in the field and the performances. We can hope.
Or at least
But
with
yes, this
Blue Cross, hopefully that means just quicker turnaround time for things like ACL injuries.
that would be nice. It was interesting to read that Blue Cross actually sponsors all five of the of the Philadelphia teams:
Oh wow.
Union, Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, and Phillies.
Wow.
So this is also the 15th season of Union Soccer. Hard to believe, but here we are, 15 seasons in.
Wow.
So I don't know if that might also play into the jerseys in some way, if they'll be
Hmm.
doing anything like that. Who knows? They get pretty creative, so I'm sure they could do
Yeah.
it. And then they have also changed their profile pic on social media to a large XV for 15 for those of you who don't traffic in Roman numerals. Uh so but yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens with that. If anything special is planned for this year, I imagine there will be little events here and there. So
Would be interesting to see if they worked the X and the V,
hmm
into the uniform in some way,
hmm
some sort of a stripe with a sublimated XV of some sort in
Hmm.
it somewhere. Would be
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, I
something
was
on the
thinking,
collar. Didn't they do something on the back of the collar on one of their jerseys at one point? I
yeah,
can't
I'm sure
remember.
they did. They play around a lot with like subtle things, so I would think it would be subtle if they did. I don't think that would be like a full
Yeah.
it'd be
Yeah.
a bit much, a bit Roman Empire to go out there with a XV. Um, but
Come out with a
yeah,
toga inspired
yeah.
jersey, you know.
So, oh Lord. So, um,
Okay. Yeah, and just an interesting little side topic is the blue card. I guess there's talk of implementing a third card now into soccer games, not MLS yet. I think right now, well, actually, Chris, I'll let you have more of the details on this, but this blue card is an intermediate between the yellow and the red. So it's got the penalty weight of a yellow card, like the warning, but it comes with a 10-minute or something like that, like penalty box kind of thing, where not only are you
I
getting a
love that
yellow
they
card,
refer to it as the sin bin.
mhm,
the sin bin, exactly.
mhm.
Um, and so I guess the player who commits the foul is off the field for 10 minutes. And
That's
Yeah.
so
right.
your team, so not only are you going on, going into the books with the yellow, your team has to play down for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so apparently this was announced, and I think there was a bit of uproar, and FIFA did step in and say, "Hey, we're not doing this yet, and if we do it, it's going to start in lower leagues as sort of a test thing. They are going to have it at their crazy cabal discussions about it at their cabal meeting on March 2nd. Anyway, so yeah, so that's it would so like you said, it would function like a yellow card. If you get two, it's a red card, and you're out. So
So it will be interesting to see if they do roll this blue card out, at all. Um,
mhm,
in all honesty, like between this or better hand signals or communication from the referees, I would take hand signals and communication rather than the blue card. But I mean, I guess it gives the refs one more step in trying to control the games a bit.
mhm,
Um, I
yeah.
do like some of the other changes around like player substitutions and injuries on the field. If they're down for more than a certain number of seconds, then they must leave the field for at least 2 minutes. Any substitutes must be off the field within 10 seconds, or the team plays down a player for a minute or two. So they're trying to give the referees some more tools to officiate the games and keep them moving, but keeping them honest and keeping the players playing the game. And we'll see what happens with this. If it goes well in the lower level games, maybe we'll see it work its way up to MLS and then eventually to the international game in the next couple of years. I mean, people were up in arms over VAR a handful of years back, and now it's just accepted.
Yeah.
The two interesting tidbits. When we were talking about this offline, we were saying, well, why not an orange card? Because that's sort of the logical chromatic Roy G. Biv scale.
Exactly.
But they said they purposely ruled out orange because it's too close to yellow and red and would possibly, which actually makes a lot of sense. But
I think they could have done a yellow with red hashes or something like that, made it look like the warning light or warning signs on the side of the road, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's turning into a construction site out there. But this actually apparently was trialed in England, 2019-20 season, I think in some lower leagues. Trial was deemed a success with 72% of the players, 77% of managers, and 84% of referees approving of the rule change, according to The Athletic. So that's interesting. I mean, it's just, it doesn't mean everybody, but
and I think there's other color card. Like I think other sports have a blue card. I think other sports have a green card. There's different approaches in different games. And we'll have to just see how it's adopted and recognized. We'll see if it comes up. I don't know. Part of me wonders if it's necessary, but at the same, is it getting away from the spirit of the sport or not? I don't feel like it really is, so I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, I'm your point earlier about when VAR was introduced and there was a lot of uproar about it's going to slow the game down, it's going to et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's, for the most part, it's proved the doubters wrong. I think it is definitely a lot more helpful compared to how much a little bit of the flow of the game we do give up, and I think that's it's been a good thing. The blue card, my one concern, I'm not saying it's going to happen or not going to happen, but it is, if we start getting to like this micro, very fine levels between yellow to blue to red, then it's, you don't want to make a rule for every little nuance within the game, because then, like, oh, this player slide tackles somebody and it's a yellow card, and the team of the player who got the foul against, like, do they call for the red or the blue now? And then, and vice versa, you get that blue card. That should have been a red card, or now it's only a yellow. And, by having yellow and red, there was a little bit more daylight between the two instances of when it's used, but at the same time, when they're used improperly, then it's that much more egregious, versus you got a finer distribution of rules and the corresponding penalties. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to make the game. I don't want the game to suddenly turn into kicking a ball and doing taxes at the same time. And this is this is not that. But we'll see. We'll see. And like you said, Christy, right? It's going to be tried in some lower leagues first.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting. I agree with you that I don't want them to institute so many rules. It's one of the nice things about soccer is that it's relatively simple. I mean, I know there's a lot of nuance, but it's relatively simple rules, barring a few things. So instituting these things, I don't want it to get overcomplicated either. But again, according to this article, apparently one of the main drivers of the change is it led to a 38% decrease in dissent.
Yeah.
When it was tested, so that's apparently a big driver.
Yeah, it's interesting because it says in this article that and again, this is a referee this is an article from CBSSports.com talking about it. It says a referee would issue a blue card to a player for either a cynical foul or dissent. So it's not necessarily an egregious, personal attack kind of a foul where you go 2 foot studs up. That still, falls into that red card view. Whereas I don't know what qualifies as a cynical foul.
It sounds extremely British.
Uh-huh.
I want to know what that is. I also assume that there's a sarcastic foul, and I want to know if it's the same thing. I assume Martinez has already done it, and I've seen it. I just didn't recognize it.
But I wonder if this is going to be like VAR, where VAR has very specific situations where it's allowed to be reviewed. A goal, a red card, stuff like that is where VAR comes into play. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not involved. Yeah. So blue card may only be for certain types of fouls. Otherwise, it has to either be yellow or red.
It does seem like things would have to become more codified if they're going to have 3 cards.
Or at least communicated better.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm just going to keep banging my drum, waving my flags. Arm movements and slightly better communications from the referees would really solve a lot of these problems. And just so we know, just a whistle with no indication of anything doesn't help.
And when is a handball, and when is it not? And that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly.
Just a quick touch to your own hand, some sort of a quick signal would be appreciated. I mean, it's in field hockey, it's in lacrosse. These things flow like soccer, and just make the calls and keep it rolling.
I can't help think about the cynical nature though of the foul. I can just see a game where some tackle happens or whatever, and the offending player walks away, and also the fans of the person who was fouled against is like, ref, come on, blue card. He's rolling his eyes. Can't
you hear the snark?
Yeah. He just said whatever. Give him the blue card.
Yeah, right.
Scoops would be out in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. She'll set a record for the first fan to get a blue card.
Yeah.
Ma'am?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and last fun fact from this article, that cards were introduced in 1970.
Yeah, yellow and red cards.
I did not know that.
1970. Yeah, 1970.
I wonder what the referees did before that. Just kick players out?
Maybe. I don't know. Or
maybe push them off the field. You're done.
You get to go to the pub first tonight. Congratulations.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, that's kind of the wrap for our show this week. If you want to jump in on the conversation, reach out, say hello. You can reach us at our website, which is amorephillyunion.com. You can email us at pod@amorephillyunion.com. On Twitter/X, we are amorephillyu. Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, we are amorephillyunion. We are continuing to add to our ever-growing, awesome Spotify playlist. So you can find us on Spotify under A More Philly Union. Yeah, so keep downloading our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Google, for however long it's going to be around. Apple, Spotify. Pretty much all of them. So thanks for tuning in for another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
Go Union!
We've stretched this taffy as far as it will go. Let's go ahead.
There you go.